But we start tonight with the news that Yorkshire-born singer and songwriter Robert Palmer has died suddenly at the age of 54.
Robert Palmer was the epitome of suave sophistication, known for his sharp style and iconic music videos, just as much as for his unforgettable hits. Sadly, his life ended far too soon at 54. In this look back at his captivating journey, we'll explore everything from his early influences to chart-topping successes like Addicted to Love, as well as the personal and professional challenges he faced, such as the formation of the power station and the struggles that ultimately led to his tragic passing. This is the life and tragic death of Robert Palmer. Childhood. Robert Palmer was born in 1949 in Batley, West Yorkshire, to parents Anna and Leslie Palmer. His father served in the Royal Navy, and when Robert was just 3 months old, the family relocated to Malta. Growing up on the Mediterranean island, young Palmer was exposed to a wide range of music through the American Forces Network, which would play a significant role in shaping his musical tastes. The first record he ever purchased, Otis Redding Sings Soul Ballads, became the most influential album in his life, helping to define his soulful singing style. At the age of 12, Palmer's family returned to England, settling in Scarborough, a picturesque holiday resort on the Yorkshire coast. His father took up a post at RAF Fylingdales, while his mother managed a guest house. Later in life, after finding success in his music career, Palmer bought his parents the house they still lived in. Meanwhile, his brother Mark followed in their father's footsteps and joined the Royal Air Force. But Robert had no interest in a military career. His ambitions were set on a different path. Palmer attended Scarborough Boys High School and left at 16 to pursue art at Scarborough School of Art and Design. However, his artistic aspirations didn't last long. He soon abandoned the idea of becoming an artist and began working at the Scarborough Evening News as a photographic technician. Colleagues remember him as a skinny teen with bleached hair, working diligently in the photography department. His time there was cut short, though, when police discovered the remains of a cannabis joint during a raid on his bedsit, which led to him losing his job. Though Robert Palmer briefly dabbled in journalism, working at the Scarborough Evening News, his true passion was always music. By the age of 15, he had begun taking guitar lessons and was already performing as the lead singer for a local band, the Mandrakes. The group's name was a nod to Palmer's favorite book, The Naked Lunch, by William Burroughs. Palmer's life took a significant turn when, by chance, he was asked to step in as a singer for the Alan Bones Set, a blues band that found itself without a vocalist for a gig at Scarborough Spa. What was supposed to be a one-night stand-in performance turned into a long-term gig, as the band was so impressed with Palmer's voice that they asked him to stay on permanently. At this point, Palmer made the decision to change his stage name from Alan to Robert to avoid confusion with the band's leader, Alan Bown. After his early success with the Alan Bown Set, Robert Palmer made the move to London, determined to further his career in music. He settled into a basement flat at 35 Dennington Park Road in West Hampstead, where he would begin his next musical chapter. Palmer joined Dada, a 12-piece jazz-rock fusion band that featured the powerful vocals of Elkie Brooks. The band's eclectic mix of styles and the chemistry between Palmer and Brooks made them stand out. But despite their potential, Dada disbanded after just a year. Undeterred, Palmer and Brooks teamed up again to form the rhythm and blues group Vinegar Joe. Named after the famously tough U.S. General Joseph Stilwell, the band embraced a gritty, energetic sound. They signed with Island Records and released 3 albums: Vinegar Joe, 1972, Rock and Roll Gypsies, 1972, and Six Star General, 1973. While the albums showcased Palmer's soulful voice and the band's dynamic performances, Vinegar Joe struggled to achieve commercial success. By 1974, the band decided to call it quits. However, Palmer's talent had not gone unnoticed. Island Records saw potential in him as a solo artist and promptly signed him to a solo deal, marking the beginning of a new phase in his career, one that would soon lead to his international breakthrough. Robert Palmer's debut solo album, "Sneakin' Sally Through the Alley," was recorded in the vibrant musical landscape of New Orleans. This album showcased a distinctive sound influenced by the funk fusion of the Meters and the soulful grooves of Little Feat. Both the Meters and Little Feat's producer-guitarist, Lowell George, contributed their talents to the album, creating a rich, textured sound that was both innovative and captivating. Despite its success in the U.S., where both the album and its singles made it into the top 100, "Sneakin' Sally Through the Alley" did not achieve the same level of acclaim in the UK. The album featured a notable trilogy of tracks: "Sailin' Shoes," Palmer's own "Hey Julia," and the title track penned by Alan Toussaint, all seamlessly connected without any pauses. In 1975, Palmer made a significant move, relocating from London to the bustling music scene of Greenwich Village, New York City. His second album, Pressure Drop, was released in November of that year. The recording process took him from Blue Sea's studio in Baltimore to various sessions in Los Angeles. This album continued his collaboration with Little Feat and added to his lineup respected Motown musicians, the Muscle Shoals Horns, and Barry White's arranger, Gene Page, who conducted a large string section. Infused with Robert Palmer's fascination with reggae and rock, his 1976 album, Some People Can Do What They Like, garnered attention more for its provocative cover art than for its commercial success. The cover featured a striking Graham Hughes photograph of a naked girl on a balcony, which overshadowed the music inside. Despite Palmer's efforts, including touring with Little Feat to promote the album, it only managed to reach a modest position of 136 on the U.S. charts. In October 1976, Palmer released Some People Can Do What They Like, recorded at Clover Studios in Los Angeles. Unfortunately, this album also failed to achieve commercial success, continuing a pattern of underperformance. Palmer's next project, Double Fun, released in 1978, marked a shift in his recording locations. The album was produced at the Hit Factory and Media Sound in New York, as well as Sigma Sound Studios in Philadelphia. Robert Palmer's 1978 album, Double Fun, marked a significant milestone in his career, giving him his first top 20 hit in the United States with the track Every Kind of People. This Caribbean-influenced song, penned by former Free bassist and Island Records label mate Andy Fraser, became a staple of easy listening radio. Palmer was introduced to the song through Fraser's unreleased version, which inspired Palmer to record his own take. Following this success, Palmer released Secrets in 1979, which represented a shift towards a pure rock sound. Recorded at the renowned Compass Point Studios, the album further solidified Palmer's position in the music industry. Secrets featured the track Bad Case of Loving You, written by Moon Martin, which became Palmer's second top 20 single. The 1980s marked a significant period of commercial success for Robert Palmer. His self-produced sixth album, Clues, recorded at Compass Point Studios, showcased his growing prominence in the music industry. This album featured notable contributions from Talking Heads drummer Chris Frantz and the influential Gary Newman. Clues spawned several hits on both sides of the Atlantic, beginning with the pulsating, radio-friendly single, Johnny and Mary. This track was a notable departure for Palmer as it featured him experimenting with a baritone vocal style. Johnny and Mary achieved lasting recognition and was prominently used in advertisements for Renault cars throughout the 1980s and 1990s, becoming a signature tune for the brand. Another standout from the album was Looking for Clues, which gained significant exposure when its music video aired on MTV's very first day of broadcasting, August 1st, 1981. Palmer's involvement in this track was multifaceted. He played bass and percussion and even contributed a xylophone solo in the middle of the song. Robert Palmer's commercial success continued with the release of Some Guys Have All the Luck in 1982, a track from his live studio album, Maybe It's Live. Palmer's rendition of the song was notably different from other versions, featuring a significantly altered melody and lyrics that set it apart. Reflecting on the song in 1989, Palmer shared an intriguing anecdote. "I was working with Moon Martin when I wrote Some Guys. I played it to him, and a few days later, he mentioned he'd just heard someone singing it in a studio across the road. This seemed impossible since I hadn't finished the song myself. What actually happened was that I must have heard it subliminally, perhaps on Australian radio, and didn't even realize it. The only part I remembered clearly was the title line. In April 1983, Palmer released his seventh album, Pride, which was recorded at Compass Point Studios in Nassau and the Farmyard in Little Chalfont, England. While not as commercially successful as Clues, Pride showcased notable tracks, including the title song and a cover of the System's You Are In My System. The latter featured keyboard contributions from the System's David Frank. Palmer later described the album Pride as a bit introverted and inside itself, reflecting on its more introspective nature. On July 23, 1983, Palmer performed at a charity concert organized by Duran Duran at Villa Park, Aston Villa's football ground. During this event, he forged connections with members of Duran Duran, which eventually led to the creation of the supergroup The Power Station in late 1984. The group was formed with Duran Duran's John and Andy Taylor, along with Chic drummer Tony Thompson. The Power Station's debut album was primarily recorded at the New York studio that gave the band its name, with additional overdubs and mixing done at Compass Point Studios. The album achieved considerable success, with 3 U.S. top 10 hits, including Communication and a cover of T-Rex's Get It On. In 1985, Palmer chose not to continue with the Power Station and focused on his solo career. Over a span of 3 months at Compass Point Studios, he recorded his 8th solo album. He enlisted Thompson and Andy Taylor, along with Power Station producer Bernard Edwards, who had previously collaborated with Thompson in Chic, to work on the album. Released in 1986, Riptide was a relatively short album, running just 31 minutes, but it became Palmer's best-selling album. It featured the self-penned single Addicted to Love, which topped the U.S. charts and earned Palmer a Grammy Award for Best Male Rock Vocal Performance. The iconic video for Addicted to Love was directed by renowned British fashion and society photographer Terence Donovan. In the video, Palmer is featured performing with a band of blank-faced, red-lipsticked fashion models playing guitars. Despite the video's significant impact, often hailed as arguably the defining video of the 1980s, Palmer downplayed his contribution to its success, remarking, "I just showed up and mouthed the words for 15 minutes." In 1988, Palmer ventured into new musical territories with his self-produced album Heavy Nova. This album marked a departure from his previous work, incorporating a blend of bossa nova rhythms, heavy rock, and white soul ballads. The title Heavy Nova reflects this fusion of heavy metal and bossa nova influences. At the time, Palmer expressed a high level of satisfaction with Heavy Nova, considering it the best work he had done up to that point. All the tracks were crafted on an acoustic guitar, and the album was recorded at Logic Studios in Milan and Compass Point Studios in Nassau. The standout single from Palmer's Heavy Nova album, Simply Irresistible, certainly lived up to its name. This track, characterized by its bombastic sound, echoed the style of the Power Station and became one of Palmer's most commercially successful songs. The video for Simply Irresistible, once again directed by Terence Donovan, featured a larger troupe of shimmying female models, this time styled in a way reminiscent of Patrick Nagel's artwork, famously associated with the cover of Duran Duran's Rio. The visual flair of the video matched the song's infectious energy and helped cement its popularity. Simply Irresistible achieved significant success, reaching number 1, 2 on the U.S. charts, and becoming Palmer's last top 10 hit in the country. The track's impact extended beyond music charts. It was featured in numerous TV shows and movies, most notably in the 1988 film Cocktail, where Tom Cruise even performed the chorus. Additionally, the song has been covered by various artists, including Van Halen, Garth Brooks, Culture Club, Tina Turner, and Florence, plus The Machine. The success of Simply Irresistible earned Palmer his second Grammy Award in 1989. In the UK, the ballad She Makes My Day also made waves, reaching number 1, 6 on the charts. Renowned for his ability to blend various musical styles, Robert Palmer further showcased his versatility with his 10th album, Don't Explain, released in 1990. This album, recorded at Logic Studios in Milan, featured an eclectic mix of tracks, including a reggae-infused rendition of Bob Dylan's I'll Be Your Baby Tonight. This collaboration with UB40 achieved notable success, securing a #1 spot on the UK charts. The album also included a cover of Marvin Gaye's Mercy Mercy Me, adding to its diverse appeal. In the same year, Palmer earned recognition beyond the music scene when Rolling Stone named him the best-dressed male artist, highlighting his impeccable style and fashion sense. Additionally, in 1991, Palmer celebrated the enduring appeal of his music with an extended version of his 1978 hit, Every Kind of People. This reworked version was co-produced by Anna Jolly, Brian Harris, and Mark Jolly, offering a fresh take on one of his early successes. The following year, Robert Palmer released Ridden High, a jazz-infused album that paid homage to the Tin Pan Alley era. The album showcased Palmer's appreciation for classic jazz influences while adding his distinctive flair. In 1994, Palmer returned to Milan's Logic Studios to record his 12th studio album, Honey. Although the album received mixed reviews and did not produce any major hit singles in the US, it found moderate success in the UK with 3 singles making a mark: Girl You Want, Know By Now, and You Blow Me Away. In 1995, Palmer reconnected with former members of the Power Station to work on their second album. Originally, bassist John Taylor was slated to participate, but he eventually withdrew from the project. Chic's Bernard Edwards stepped in as his replacement. In 1996, Robert Palmer released Living in Fear, an album that marked a significant moment in his career. Tragically, just as Palmer and his band were preparing to tour in support of the album, Bernard Edwards, the esteemed bassist from Chic and a key collaborator, died suddenly from pneumonia in Tokyo. Edwards had just performed with Chic the night before his passing. The same year, Palmer faced another blow with the death of Terence Donovan, the renowned fashion and society photographer who had directed some of Palmer's most iconic music videos, including Addicted to Love. Donovan took his own life at the age of 60. After a 5-year hiatus, Palmer released his 13th studio album, Rhythm and Blues, in 1999. Recorded at Compass Point Studios, the album signaled a return to new material. Despite Palmer's efforts to revive his music career, Rhythm and Blues struggled commercially, peaking at number 118 in the UK charts and failing to make an impact in the US. After a period of hiatus, Robert Palmer returned to the music scene with his 2003 album, Drive. This album marked Palmer's foray into blues music, showcasing a collection of cover songs, including a rendition of ZZ Top's TV Dinners. The album was a collaborative effort with his son, James Palmer, who contributed as a drummer. It was recorded at Logic Studios in Milan and at Palmer's home studio in Lugano. Drive received positive reviews and appeared to signal a promising comeback for Palmer. However, despite the optimism surrounding the album, it unfortunately marked the end of his recording career. Tragically, this album also represented the last video project Palmer ever completed before his death. Robert Palmer was known for his remarkably private life, despite his celebrity status. He rarely appeared in the media, and as a result, there is limited information about his personal activities outside of music. The details that are available can be difficult to verify. Palmer was married twice and fathered 5 children. His first marriage was to Shelley Putnam, a former model, in 1972. Together, they had 3 children, Anthony, Anna, and Martin. The family initially lived in New York City but moved to Nassau, Bahamas, in 1976. Their new home was conveniently located across the street from Compass Point Studios, where Palmer frequently recorded. The marriage to Shelley ended in divorce in 1978. Shortly after, Palmer met Susan Eileen Thatcher, an art student, at one of his concerts in Pittsburgh. They married in 1979 when Thatcher was just 19. Palmer and Thatcher had 2 children together, a daughter named Jane, born in 1980, and a son named James. In 1986, Robert Palmer relocated his family to Lugano, Switzerland, due to growing concerns about the rising crime rate in Nassau. They moved into a charming former mill house situated on the Swiss-Italian border. In Lugano, Palmer indulged his passion for wine by acquiring a highly regarded wine cellar and set up a home studio, which allowed him to work on his music in a more personal setting. Palmer frequently traveled to Milan, just across the border, where he recorded many of his albums and indulged in his penchant for stylish suits. In 1993, he embraced his new home country by becoming a naturalized Swiss citizen. His marriage to Susan Palmer, which began in 1979, ended in 1999 when she filed for divorce. Palmer's final relationship was with Mary Ambrose. The last interview Palmer ever gave was with Christine Talbot and took place on September 24, 2003, at Ronnie Scott's Jazz Club in London's Soho. Death. Just 2 days later, on September 26, 2003, Robert Palmer and his young girlfriend, Mary Ambrose, were in Paris, staying at the luxurious Warwick Hotel off the Champs-Élysées. After a relaxing evening of dinner and a movie, Palmer collapsed around 2 a.m. and succumbed to a massive heart attack. He was 54. Ironically, only weeks before, Palmer had received a clean bill of health from a recent checkup. Known for his love of cigarettes and malt whiskey, which contributed to his distinctive gravelly voice, Palmer was a notorious chain smoker, with some reports claiming he smoked up to 60 Dunhills a day. Following his death, Mary Ambrose revealed in an interview with the Mail on Sunday that Palmer had a secret addiction. She shared that he would often leave her alone in bed at night to indulge in his passion for building model trucks and airplanes. Burial. Robert Palmer is buried in a private cemetery in London, England. Although a memorial service was held in Lugano, Switzerland, his interment took place in London at the request of his family. This decision was made to accommodate his immediate family, who reside in England and preferred not to travel to Lugano for visits. Palmer's parents, Anna and Leslie Palmer, his brother Mark Palmer, and 4 of his children, James, Jane, Anna, and Tony, live in England. To respect their convenience, the funeral was attended only by Palmer's closest friends and family, who are the only ones privy to the exact location of his grave. The rumor. In 2010, a rumor surfaced that Robert Palmer had a secret affair with Princess Diana, fueled by claims from journalist Ian Halperin. According to Halperin, a close friend of the late singer revealed that Palmer and Diana had been romantically involved. Halperin stated, "It was an extramarital affair that could have hurt a lot of people," the friend said. "Diana was in love with Robert and wanted to spend every second with him." The rumored affair was allegedly so intense that it was said to have contributed to the breakdown of Diana's marriage to Prince Charles, which ended in divorce 2 years later. The relationship was rumored to have been deeply influential, with claims suggesting that Diana inspired Palmer's 1988 hit, Simply Irresistible, and his 1994 album, Honey. Their purported romance was said to have had a profound impact on Palmer's music during that period. When in London, Robert Palmer consistently stayed at the St. James's Club, located just a short distance from Princess Diana's Kensington Palace residence. This proximity was noted in the speculation about their alleged relationship. According to Ian Halperin, the affair was so intense that it led to Diana allegedly becoming pregnant and subsequently undergoing an abortion at a private clinic to avoid a major scandal in Britain. Halperin claimed that Diana never saw Palmer again after this incident due to her fear of the repercussions from Prince Charles. In February 2014, Elkie Brooks, Palmer's former bandmate, weighed in on the rumors. Speaking to the Daily Telegraph, Brooks acknowledged the possibility of the affair, stating, "Knowing Robert, I wouldn't be surprised if it happened. I wouldn't put it past him. Not at all." Brooks's comments underscored the speculation surrounding Palmer and Diana's rumored relationship, reflecting the complexity and intrigue of their private lives. Postscript. In 1973, Dougie Thompson, who had played bass alongside Robert Palmer in the Alan Bound set, joined the iconic rock band Supertramp. The following year, saxophonist John Helliwell, another former band member, also joined Supertramp, further connecting Palmer's musical past with this renowned group. Following Palmer's death, Rod Stewart began incorporating a Palmer-style arrangement of Some Guys Have All the Luck, a song Stewart originally released in 1984, into his live performances. As a tribute to Palmer, Stewart's performances featured live female backup vocalists and a horn player dressed in outfits reminiscent of Palmer's signature music videos. In 2014, Norwegian electronic music producer Todd Terje released a down-tempo version of Palmer's hit Johnny and Mary, featuring Brian Ferry on vocals, offering a fresh take on the classic track. Susan Palmer, Robert Palmer's second wife, has found success as an artist living in Sedona, Arizona. She owns and operates her own art gallery, continuing her creative pursuits. Mary Ambrose, Palmer's final partner, passed away in London in 2005 at the age of 27. She left behind two young sons. Christine Talbot, who conducted one of Palmer's final interviews in 2003, continues her career in journalism. As of 2021, she remains a main presenter for ITV Yorkshire's flagship news program, ITV News. Peter Sutcliffe, known as the Yorkshire Ripper, died on November 13, 2020, at the age of 74. Despite rarely corresponding during his 40 years in prison, Sutcliffe wrote one of his last letters to Christine Talbot. In 2020, Palmer's classic track Every Kind of People was chosen as the anthem for North Yorkshire, highlighting its enduring impact. Renault further celebrated Palmer's legacy in 2021 by featuring a reinterpreted version of Johnny and Mary in their E-Tech launch commercial, performed by Swedish singer Hannah Hägglund. Robert Palmer's musical legacy endures through his distinctive style and memorable hits, even as his personal life remains shrouded in intrigue and mystery. From his innovative blend of genres to the poignant tributes that followed his untimely passing, Palmer's impact on music and pop culture is undeniable. What are your thoughts on the enduring influence of Robert Palmer's music and the controversies surrounding his personal life? Share your comments below. We'd love to hear from you. If you like this insightful content about the life and tragic death of Robert Palmer, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel to support us. Stay tuned for more in-depth explorations of iconic figures and their remarkable stories.